Welcome back to the channel, lads and ladies. You are going to see one of the longest extended dogfights that I have had the pleasure of experiencing in War Thunder. But what you are going to hear, other than sounds of gunfire and the P-38K wallowing around like a wounded eel, is a story. And I'm going to tell you about what a complete and utter shitface I was. Shithead? Yeah, we'll go with shithead. I was. This is now in a special category of YouTube videos that doesn't get shared as much. But I was a weak douchebag when I was in grade school. And I kind of want to talk about that, partially because, I don't know, I see a bunch of you younger guys who are online, and there's this sort of dynamic that goes on a lot of times with a lot of players, where you're looking at people who feel weak and they do not treat other people well. I just dealt with some drama on the Discord that is sort of along those lines, but I don't want to, insult anybody that was involved with that. Everybody gets respect. And that doesn't belong on YouTube. But I love all of you guys. Even, dare I say, especially if you are acting like I did when I was a little piece of shit. Because you know what? I really was not a good person when I was younger, and I don't think that I'm great now, but I've come a long way. And the thing that I definitely have now that I didn't have then is a relationship with the Lord that teaches me and inspires me to love people. So, what was going on? I grew up in a family where my dad was in the army, and we moved about once every year until we moved to Alaska, and we lived there for 4 years. Fairbanks, not a happy place, and it was not a happy home. I've talked about how my parents were actively trying to kill each other, literally, and they were fighting daily, yelling, screaming, throwing things, hitting each other, choking each other, fun stuff like that. So that's what was going on in my home when I was a little piece of shit. Not making excuses, but I want to set the stage, right? What was going on at school? Well, this is what taught me how to be a piece of shit. So I learned how to behave. I took my example from the other little shits that I was going to school with, and they were being little pieces of shit to me. Now, obviously, when I moved to Alaska, I was new there, but for military school, army, elementary school, everybody's new, right? People are always coming and going, so everybody's sort of used to that. But something that I had never experienced, and honestly, for the rest of my life, I have never experienced this again, is violent racism. And I had no idea what was going on. But looking back on it, there was definitely this sort of us versus them gang mentality going on with a group of, a small group of boys and girls that made their presence known on the playground. And what would they do? They were all, and this made no sense to me when I was a little kid, and I think it's totally stupid now, but this is what was going on. It was a group of dark-skinned little boys and girls around my age, maybe a little bit older than me, and they ran together on recess, and they called themselves a gang, and they would come out of nowhere and just slam into me and just start beating the heck out of me with their little fists. And, I tried to stand up for myself, and I tried to fight back the way the Power Rangers do against the bad guys. I was a little kid, man. I was like, I want to say 6 to 7 years old. And I couldn't protect myself. And what I did is I responded in absolutely the worst way possible. Because the teachers out on recess were not stopping this stuff from happening. So I felt powerless. I couldn't hurt them. So I went and I hurt other kids that were smaller than me. And I figured that's just what people do to feel good. They hurt other people. They push them over, they kick them, they hit them and then run away. And then they go hide so they don't get in trouble. Do I need to explain that that's bad behavior, right? So that's what I did. I was bullied by people in a physical way. I would get hit, and I don't know, I didn't get beat up really bad, but they would just like hit me a bunch. They couldn't hit really hard, but they could definitely hit harder than me. And you know how much it hurts to get punched in the nose? It was always the nose with those people. And just to make it very, very clear, I have nothing against people with a different skin color, ethnicity, background, in any kind of cultural background than me. I got nothing against people that are different than me. I was a target by people that were different than me. They targeted me, they grouped together, and they decided that it was us. They decided that it was them against everybody that was different against them, and that didn't make any sense to me. I didn't even understand that that's what they were doing. But what I did understand is they were stronger than me, and it felt bad to get beat up by people that were stronger than me. So I went and I bullied people and I pushed people around that were weaker than me. And the really messed up thing is it didn't make me feel bad. It made me feel good to do that. I'm going to be honest with you again. I couldn't do anything like that today because I love people. And yet there's a world out there where that's still going on. And to bring it right around to War Thunder, you see that kind of behavior going on today, where it feels good to bully somebody that's weaker than you. Maybe they're not so good at the game. Maybe they don't have such a high opinion of themselves. Maybe they've got, some vulnerability that you can take advantage of in the way you talk to them. And maybe this has nothing to do at this point with anything that happened on Discord, just in case you guys are aware of what was going on the Discord server. This is not that. I wanted to talk about this because I remembered what a little shit I was, and I sort of understand the reasons now. And I think it's a good chance for people to be honest and to realize that it can feel good to pick on somebody, to bully somebody, to turn around and just spread the bitterness that's in your heart onto other people. It really does have a sort of a schadenfreude. It can make you feel emotionally some kind of a twisted pleasure. And it's evil. It's evil. And it's harmful. And it's wrong. And it needs to stop. And to put this in my own context, Jesus died for all of my sins. And what I was doing when I was a kid in elementary school before I moved to Oregon, where none of that stuff was going on, and I was finally able to be free from it just because that's not the way people treated each other on the playground in Oregon. wonderful place that I went to school. We're at the edge of the map, and the dogfight is still going. But you gotta be set free from that. And if you're in a situation where you can get away from it, get away. The world is not like that corner where you're being abused. If somebody's treating you badly in War Thunder, there are ways to complain. There's moderators and such. If somebody's treating you badly on my Discord, then every one of the moderators, myself included, myself at the top, would be very happy to deal with that situation. But also, if that bitterness is really getting into you, then you need to be set free from that. And Jesus said that He is the truth and that He would set you free. And I'm telling you, He really does. He set me free from all of the bitterness of my past. And it's something that affected me very deeply. And it was a process that took years to set me free from that, but He really did. And the place where that bitterness was, He filled with love for people. By the way, I loved this dogfight. Story time over. There's a link to my Discord in the description of this video, and I'd love to see you there. This was a great positive encounter in War Thunder, and I had a blast. Catch you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.